Chapter 20, Iran and Turkey, Part 2, September 1971. I'm in eastern Iran at the train station in Mashhad. I just purchased a ticket for Tehran. I'm heading forever westward from here on out. These Iranians are very intense and quite hard to figure. I'm too laid back and carefree to meld in, so, consequently, I stick out like a sore thumb amongst the multitudes. The world changes quickly. The timeless and ancient wonders of Afghanistan, the primitive and brutal and otherworldly beautiful, the pureness of Afghanistan is left far behind, but the place will always remain in my heart. The simple people of the Afghan culture will always remain special to me. It felt as if I were living in history, a walk back in time. I'm now about to fill up my second diary journal, just a few more empty pages to go. I bought my present green cloth-covered unlined journal in Herat, Afghanistan near the end of April. I filled it up with my thoughts and experiences over the spring and summer. Now that I'm heading west through Iran, the great eastern epic slithers further away. I know I will always yearn to one day return, but for now I'm ever onward, homeward bound. I cherish this life, planet Earth, and all the people of the globe. I board the train in the mid-afternoon for an all-night trip to Tehran. I have a young student in the next seat next to me. Hi, I'm Herschel Minster from England, but I'm really a Pakistani, he says upon greeting me. I put my gear below in the stowaway area and take my seat next to Herschel. The talkative, dark-skinned, black-haired 20-year-old blabbers on. My father is English. He works for the British government. My mother is from Pakistan. I'm on my way back to Europe for school. What about you? Well, Herschel, I'm Steve from America, but you can call me Woodstock since everyone else does. It's good to make your acquaintance. We shake hands. I've been on the road traveling the hippie trail for almost a year now, but I'm heading back to Europe myself, then on to New York and back home. I see we have a 4-hour stopover in Tehran tomorrow, then it's back on the train for another all-nighter to Tabriz, says Herschel. Yeah, we do. I also bought the 2-day package to get me across Iran. Would you like to walk around Tehran together when we can get there? Inquires Herschel. Sure, that should be fun. Have you ever been to Tehran? No. I just had a quick stop last time I came through Iran several months back. I spent a night after an all-day travel, then kept moving the next day, so I really didn't get a chance to see the city at all, I say. Well, I've got an idea for a good walking tour, says Herschel. I've been studying city maps. We can see a lot of interesting stuff for the small time we have allotted. The train rolls on down the tracks the rest of the day into the dark night. I fall asleep in my seat. In the morning, I awake to a startling sunrise over the mountain peaks in the far distance. The light beams pierce through, expanding the sights of nature. Sitting in my seat, looking out the window, I see the horizon appear from the darkened shadows. The rising sun lights the landscape. The fast-moving train unleashes panoramic views. A new day is here. We arrive in Tehran just before the noon hour. Herschel and I go on a swift but lengthy tour through town. This is really a beautiful city. Walking around Tehran is very different from the Iranian countryside. Tehran is very European feeling, with tree-lined streets, modern and very Western in parts of town. All these stylish Persian dudes with well-coiffed long hair and dressed to the T in fancy Western fashions. Clearly the women of Tehran love French high fashion and dress as women on the French Riviera do. Tehran is quite a dichotomy when compared to the outlying regions of Tehran and Iran. I'm just passing through, checking out the sights of culture and the people. I know the intensity of many of the men can lead to mob psychology. I receive strange looks of disapproval from some of the Iranians, but I avoid prolonged eye contact and just keep moving. After a couple hours of exploring Tehran by foot, we We make our way back to the train station to ensure we will be on the train to Tabriz. I board the train and take my seat. The train rolls down the tracks for another day and all-nighter. I'm getting through Iran as quickly as I can. My travel mate Herschel has moved on somewhere else. I'm back in solo travel mode once again. In the morning, I arrive in Tabriz. I disembark from the train and luckily hitch a quick ride in the direction of the border in the back of an old Chevy sedan. The driver is an Iranian judge with his friend in the front seat. The judge can speak English. They drop me off at a highway junction in harsh desert country where I wait for a ride for 3 hours. The people are nice and gentle out here. Finally, a bus pulls up and I board it in great excitement. Soon I will be entering Turkey. The bus takes me to the small border town of Baku, Iran. I look for a place to stay and rest for the night. 2 Italian guys in the hotel lobby offer to share in the cost of the room with me. Sure. After we get settled, I introduce them to some Afghani hashish. Neither one of them has ever smoked before. They both become very paranoid after taking a few chillum puffs. Hotel security comes to fix the door lock to our room. I was alerted they would do this at the front desk. The 2 Italian guys are petrified. They think we're going to jail. They can't speak English. I can't speak Italian. The security guard is speaking Farsi. I'm caught in a mini vortex of the Tower of Babel. How do I talk 2 guys down from a buzz like they've never experienced before? I start to have a great belly laugh at the absurd situation. This causes the 2 Italian guys to settle down and relax from gathering our stuff to go off to jail. The security guard fixes the door lock. We all share in a great laugh together. In the morning, I buy a fare on a local transport bus to the tiny village of Bazargans. Then I walk 2 kilometers through no man's land to the Turkish border. After crossing the border and passing through customs and immigration, I catch a bus to the town of Erzurum in the midst of far eastern Turkey. After I stop for a nice meal, then it's back to the road. I purchase a bus ticket for an all-day 12-hour journey to a Black Sea port town called Trabzon. The bus travels in the lush green mountain landscape into the low-hanging rain clouds at the peaks. I love the beautiful vistas of panoramic views that appear as we move along the roadways. The reason I'm heading to Trabzon on the Black Sea is to inquire about purchasing a relatively cheap and easy boat ride to Istanbul. That would get me across this country as well as putting me on the doorstep of Europe in big, old Istanbul. I'm getting tired of traveling on the roads and train tracks. Traveling on water seems easier at this point of this long journey. Plus, my limited funds are low, so I need to figure out the quickest and cheapest way to keep moving westward towards home. The bus arrives in Trabzon late in the evening. I trudge along to hotel after hotel with no vacancy. After 10 failures, I finally locate a room. I am beat from the travel. Soon I'm asleep. In the morning, I go to a local baker and purchase a half loaf of bread and some tea. I bring my refreshments back to the hotel room. Then I sit down and read letter after letter that I've received during my travels. I have a thick collection bundled together that I keep stored in my backpack. I am flooded with memories and yearnings to get back home. I make my way out to the boat docks in the harbor. I talk to a few boat captains who direct me to a nice Turk. I make a quick deal with him. The boat leaves on Monday at 8 in the morning. That's in 48 hours, so I've got 2 days to hang out in Trabzon, Turkey. The villagers all wear the common Turkish uniform, an all-black Western-style suit, jacket and pants, with a black shirt and a black wool cap. It gives them the look of 1915 coal miners from Pennsylvania. The exotic flavor of the East is completely obliterated here. On the flip side, Trabzon is a vibrant urbane town. There is an electric cultural buzz due to its connection to the rest of the world through ships and trade. The people seem to live very well here, with many of the modern conveniences. Today is overcast, so I'm not going to roam the black sand beaches as originally planned. However, at night I witness an incredible sky show. The Milky Way is plainly visible as a band of light across the sea. The stars twinkle with a vibrant intensity. I am at one with the universe. After another lazy day in Trabzon, I pack my gear and head to the docks at sunrise. I'm ready to set sail for Istanbul and Europe. I board the ship and wait for departure. It only cost me 27 lira for general deck class. I have 2 nights. I'll be sleeping on deck out in the open wherever I can lay my head. The gangplank is hoisted up and the ship disconnected from the docks. I am off on a Black Sea cruise. The ship stays within sight of land all along the Black Sea shoreline. I watch the panorama of rocky, rugged mountains and green, lush land from on board the deck of my passing ship. I spend much of my time on the ship gabbing with my fellow hippie travelers on deck. It's crazy how all the hippies from various cultures are drawn together, while the straights and foreigners look at us with disdain or curiosity. Much vodka and chillums of hash get around. The ship party on deck is quite a gas. I turn many revelers on with my Afghani hash. The soft-flowing 2-day trip from east to west along the shores of the Black Sea is a wonderful experience. We take a turn left into the Bosphorus, Europe on my right, and the mystery of Asia to the left. Once again, I'm at the continental crossroads. Soon enough, I'm back in big old Istanbul. I get a room for the night. Next morning, I start walking out of Istanbul, where I meet up with a fellow American hippie traveler. We hit the road hitchhiking together. How are you? I'm Marshall from Florida. I'm Steve from Michigan, but everyone calls me Woodstock. I'm making my way across Europe to eventually fly back to the USA and my home near Detroit City. Same here, man. I need to get home and start law school. What school are you attending? Florida State in Tallahassee. I got my undergraduate degree at Georgia Tech. I just graduated from Michigan State University last year with a general business degree. I'm seriously thinking about law school myself when I get back home. How long have you been trekking, Woodstock? In my 12th consecutive month right now. Week 50, in fact. Wow, it's been such an epic odyssey adventure on so many levels for me. Went as far east as Nepal, hung out in India, Kashmir, Afghanistan, Morocco, even did 8 weeks on a kibbutz in Israel. It's been quite a journey for me. What about you? Oh, I've been mostly hanging out in Turkey and the Greek islands. It's been a fun getaway, but now I need to start and get serious about life. It can't be all fun and games and party and travel for the rest of my life, unfortunately, says Marshall. I've got a fiancé back home, and I need to make things happen to start a career, a family, and a home life. How serendipitous meeting you, I say. It's uncanny how our outlooks on life are on a parallel course. What made you choose law as a vocation? Myself, I've always been drawn to law, even though no one in my family has ever been a lawyer. Well, it's my family bloodline for generations. Fathers, brothers, grandfather. I've always been expected I would grow up to be a lawyer. So, how did you get away on a hippie adventure by yourself? It's my last fling. When I get home, the hair and the beard goes off and the suits go on. We both share in a laugh. We stop alongside the road from hitching and pass my chillum full of hash back and forth. I enjoy hearing the camaraderie of a traveling companion. We hitch a short ride after a short ride in the back of a pickup truck. Then we arrive at the Sea of Marmara, the bulge of water between the Bosphorus and the Greek Aegean Sea, which is really part of the Mediterranean. We take a swim, then hitch another ride in the back of a truck. The driver takes us to a tavern where we proceed to drink ourselves into oblivion the rest of the day. Everything is a shattered blur to me. I get blitzed. We wake up on the side of the road, sleeping with our gear. Hey man, you all right? How did we get here? I ask. Oh, ouch, I got a vicious hangover headache, responds Marshall. I had too much to drink last night, as did you, but at least I remember our driver, Al, dropping us off at the side of the road after we left the bar. I don't remember any of that, I say, because you were passed out. We had to roll you out of the truck, man. Wow. Anyway, the driver said we are only 6 kilometers from the Greek border from here. Marshall and I move about slowly at the beginning of a new day. The previous night's festivities have us dragging. My hair is all mangled and full of knots. I try to pull my fingers through it, but it's no use. The rough going at pulling the hair on my head just adds to my hangover misery, so I give up. I must look like a madman to the outside world. We gather our gear and make way for the border. A traveler in a small car happens by and takes pity on us poor souls, giving us a lift the rest of the way to the border. Opposing soldiers glare at each other across a bridge that separates Turkey from Greece. The red and white stripes of the Turkish side meet the blue and white stripes of the Greeks at the midway point of the bridge. Hungover and still flying high, Marshall and I walk across the long bridge and enter Greece.